guys, Mayflom here, and what you see here is looks like a great big pile of ribbon, but it's actually quite organized, and I'll show you what I mean. So what I have here, I used my mat here and cut somewhere between 36 and about 52 inches long ribbons, lots and lots of beautiful ribbons, and I want to make a little ribbon flag of sorts here. And I've seen this done a lot, but I've never actually looked up how to do it. I figure easy enough. So I've got a 12-inch little rod here. This is actually from the baking section because I just want a little one. And all I'm going to do is take my machine and I'm just going to insert this whole thing, this whole mess in, and one at a time just stitch right here so that they're all going to stick on here. And once I can do that, once I get that done, then we can work on building with some stars and some decorations to really make this fun. So I've got, as you can see, what I did is I just did enough ribbon so that it's almost all the way full, almost to the ends here. And I've just been squishing it into the middle so that it doesn't go flying off. And I just ran each piece through the sewing machine. It didn't take very long. And I haven't trimmed off the little ends of thread yet. And this is why. Because for my little ribbon flag, I'm not trying to make this look like an actual American flag. Okay, guys? I just want it to have a patriotic feeling. And I love the look of these ribbon flags. So what I'm going to do is lay everybody back out here like so. And then what I have here is this is a piece of a handkerchief. And what I want to do, you see this one, it's been, it was all stained on the one side and I just clipped that side off. Okay, so I've got a raw edge. So what I'm going to do is just fold the edge over, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to secure the raw edge because it'll be against the wall so it'll never be seen. I'm going to secure the raw edge on the back side here, and I'm going to put this whole thing through my sewing machine and just stitch this all up here. What I'm going to do though is just make sure I'm happy with whatever is underneath this portion, because whatever's underneath I can't undo. Okay, whatever I have under here I can't go and fix later, at least not easily. So I do like what's under here. I'm just going to make sure that I'm satisfied with that and just stick this in the sewing machine. I'll show you, it's hard to sew and film at the same time for me. To get the camera in the angle that you need to be in is very difficult, but I'll share a photo with you there of what that's going to look like, and then we'll get the scanning cut out and make some little stars to go on here. If you've been watching my videos, then you already know I absolutely love the glitter material that Brother makes. It's iron-on, so you don't even need to get your sewing machine out or anything. And what I'm showing you here is this super shiny side. This is not the material. This is actually a very strong adhesive sheet that the material is sitting on. So the way I always remember it is the shiny side is the tape or the sticky side, and the matte finish side, that's the iron-on stuff. So you always want that matte finish side to be face up. And I have some of it here on my mat, and I'm going to show you how quick and easy we can do this. So you could do absolutely any pattern out of the glitter. It's so easy to work with. It's so much fun. Me though, I just want simple stars. I thought about doing hearts or doing other things. I guess I could add some little red hearts in with my stars. But I think I just want to keep it. No, actually, the more I say that, the more I think I like the idea of hearts. So with a heart or a star or any other shape, here's what I'm doing. I'm picking one very small size. I'm going to go 0.4, and I'm going to pick 6 of them for now and say set. That puts 6 of them on my mat. Then I'm going to take one of them and push this button here, and I'm going to increase it to, let's say, 0.65, and look right here. I can tell it, you know what, I want 4. And that'll put 4 of those on my mat. And I can repeat this process here and say, you know what, let's make a little bigger one. Let's make a 1 inch and let's make 3 of them. Okay, you see how that works? So it'll just keep making me more and more and more. I don't have to keep going back in when it's the same pattern that I want to use. So then what I'm going to do is just put these guys, I'm not going to worry too much, I've got a brand new sheet here, so I'm just going to line these guys up fairly closely. If you wanted, you could use, there's a tool in here that'll just auto put them all together. For me though, for this particular one, I've got a brand new sheet here. I'm not even going to worry about scanning it in. I'm just going to make sure all of these are down here where I know my material is. And then once I am happy, I'm just going to go ahead and cut. And I have my cutting blade set at 3 because I want it to cut through the material, but not the backing. So we're just going to say, okay, okay, and cut these out. Okay, so I've got my flag here, and you can see all the ribbons are being held on really well by my little partial handkerchief. I really like how that's looking. So what I'm going to do now, I've got over here to the side, I've been pulling off the gold hearts. I love the gold. The gold is probably my favorite color. So I've got gold stars and red hearts, and I've been pulling them off the sheet. When you go to pull them off the sheet, and here you can see, you'll be able to tell, then you'll really know which side is which, because you can really feel how sticky that is. Here on the hearts, what you're going to do for any shape, you're going to want to start at one side, and you're just going to want to take your time, since it is a delicate material, and just peel them off. Now, if you're not sure how many you're going to use, I would recommend leaving them on the sheet. I've got a couple more hearts here that I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave them on here because if I don't end up needing these, I'd rather keep them here on the sheet. They're easier to keep track of that way. So what I'm going to do here is just heat set with my iron. And it's not going to need a lot since it is such, oops, and I'm going to turn the steam off. Hello. See, you want to turn that steam off, but I'm going to just go ahead and, ooh, yeah, that got hot fast. And then I'm just going to start placing a couple stars, a couple hearts. I don't need this to be really, whoops, and look at me forgetting to put my little sheet down. Sometimes I will do this though, just kind of press it really quickly just to make sure it's tacked down. And then I will take a scrap of fabric, any fabric, and place it over the top. And you might notice I have fabric underneath. That's to protect my plastic work mat there. I'm just going to hold this on here. It doesn't take very long, especially a thin material like this. It's really going to set quickly, and let them cool. And since I've been using the iron on there, I'm going to go ahead and just continue placing hearts, placing stars. Oh, and I just love this, how this is turning out. But I mean, really, and remember, I like to just for a second. And then, and by the way, guys, if there have been times when I've forgotten to place, you're supposed to put this in between. If you accidentally forget, generally speaking, as long as you don't hold it down too long, you're not going to have any problems there. So don't freak out if you accidentally put your stuff down and then go, oh my gosh, I wasn't supposed to. I put the iron down directly, it'll probably be fine. So I just love how easy this is turning out, and I love how it's looking because it's so cute. We've got all our little, and this, if I've got an odd angle like this, like I'm trying to go up the side, I'll just use the tip of the iron here, guys, because I'm gonna have a hard time placing that. And when I'm all the way done setting these, I will go back through once it's cool and feel like, see here, this isn't quite set. That's okay. We are not going to worry about not quite set, because once I've gotten all the way through here and added all of these stars, oh, I just love this, added all of these stars, kind of tacked down all of the various pieces. You can see how just a little bit of heat from that iron gets it sticking, but that doesn't mean it's set, if that makes sense. Okay, so like I got those guys to kind of set there with iron, but I really need to put down this cloth and just set this iron down and press it. I'm trying to be careful not to put too much on the ribbons, because I don't know if any of the materials are iron safe or not. So or you know what I mean, if some of this, like this little fine material, if this would melt or anything like that, I certainly wouldn't want that. So just being extra careful, taking my time, and just gonna repeat this until I've got all of my stars and hearts placed. The next step, I've got some gold embroidery thread. It's sparkly, and I've just threaded it, and I've threaded it so that the two ends are pretty equal, and I'll show you why. So here's my next step. My next step is I've got some buttons here. I've got some red and blue buttons that'll be just perfect for this. I'm just gonna kind of randomly pick a few, and I'm gonna pick a spot here, and I'm going to, just wherever I pick, I'm gonna run this thread through, not all the way, and then back through the other side. And this is easier said than done. Oh goodness. Okay, so Let's try that one more time. This time, do not let go of the button. I show you guys this stuff so that you can see, and now I did it backwards. So I show this guys, I want you guys to see this stuff so you can see the do's and don'ts. I always like sharing the do's and don'ts with you. So we're gonna go in the side and not let go of our button this time, and then back through. And as soon as you feel it pull tight, go ahead and sit it down. Now watch this. What we are going to do, and there's a lot of ways you could do this. Basically, guys, what I'm doing is hiding all that stitching, hiding all the behind the scenes work. Okay, there's a couple different ways you could approach this. You could put, like, you could hot glue ribbons, little skinny ribbons, like on top of the other ribbons. And let's see how my dexterity is here. See if I have the fine skills. Yay, I got a knot tied. Okay, so there's one knot. We're going to tie off a second knot here, and that's why I picked the gold thread, because I thought it would be really pretty. And I'm using buttons that only have 2 holes. If you had 4 holes, you could put it through all 4 or not. But what I wanted to do, because this is a fun project, and this is a very homemade Americana kind of a project. We could do this in a lot of themes. In fact, I'm looking at doing one with leaves on my flag for fall. I think that would be beautiful. So I'm not gonna show you me doing that over and over and over again, but I'm gonna do, I don't know how many. And as I go along here, if I find the little threads, I'll just use a pair of scissors and just snip off any little extra threads. Okay, so as I see them, I'll snip them off. But otherwise, I'm just gonna keep repeating that process with buttons, and that's gonna add another level of depth. Now, if I'm coming along here and I'm wishing that we had a little more ribbon, that's no problem. I can take a piece of a ribbon here, and you know, maybe I wish there was more color, or I wish it was thicker in this one spot. Okay, we can just go along here with the buttons as we're doing this, and we can add and stitch more ribbon on, this time just by hand. This definitely is going to be easiest achieved by hand. And I believe that this is going to be the easiest achieved by hand simply because, oops, and I went back in through the same hole, so make sure you go in the different hole. I think it's going to be easiest by hand because with a machine it would be very difficult to get in here just so. Okay, and we're just going to keep repeating our process. My final tip here is at the ends, and it has to be some point where it's actually touching the wood on the back side. You don't need a lot, but a little bit of hot glue, and I'm using it onto the button and onto this end ribbon, just a little bit on the back on both sides is going to be vital. And the reason this is going to be vital is we did all this work. Let me flip it around here. So we did all this work. We don't want it to now like just fly off the ends. And I love how this turned out. You can see, and it's got such great motion, but you can see all those little buttons and bits. I left a lot of stuff kind of free so that it could have, if I ever displayed it outside, it would wave in the wind. I love how this turned out, and I hope you do too. It was a lot of fun. My final tip now will be just to know that whatever amount of ribbon you think it's going to take for this, it's a lot more than that, because every single one of these strands is 2 feet long, every single piece. So that means for about 3 to 4 feet. It's about 3 to 4 feet long, every piece of ribbon that's looped over. So you could make this even fuller. You could get away with doing a little less. Depends on what you're doing and what you like. I just love how this has turned out. I'm going to bring the camera down here for you so you can see I'm kind of hanging that up there so I can kind of show you a little different angle, and you can see how it goes all the way down to my desk, all the way down off my desk. I'll share a couple pictures. I'm going to share a picture of the not so photogenic spot where it's actually going to be. Also share a couple of other detail shots with you. As always, if you guys have any questions or requests, anything else,